All right, now if you remember last time, yesterday, first we did the first project where we did that simple phone book, and we took the stuff that was in here, those names, just threw them into a database. So you learn how to come in there and how to create a very simple database with just one table in SQL Server and then reproduce it or show it in a data grid view. From there, we went on to project 2, where we did this products thing. All right, and again, it was pretty simple. The difference was in the first one, we used a data grid view, which again looks like a spreadsheet. And in the second one, we used a details view, so we were able to see each record, one record at a time. Then we went to number 3 here, where we did this product lookup. I think we got that one done, and I think it was the next one we were working on. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. The next one was that multi-form thing. So with this product lookup, it was literally just that we were able to go and look up a product. All right, and I believe where we finished up last time, is this the one we were working on that was kind of hosed? All right, then let me bring that one up. First, let me show you what this was supposed to have in it. All right. I foolishly went in and combined information. Oh, this is the wrong one. I foolishly went in and combined information from two projects together, which was, like I said, no excuse. I just did it. All right. So, again, that was project 1. I'll try to figure out where I put mine. Stuff I thought I threw it in here. Maybe not. All right. Yeah, see, I've got all these done already. And what I'm trying to find out is where I put, let's just bring this one up. How's that? This is what the completed project should have looked like. All right, not what it does, but what it should have looked like. All right, you have this. We came in here, we created a label, we put in a list box, and we went in and then created a details view. And with that details view, we left out the product number because we were including that right here. All right. And when you run this, what was supposed to happen, and it does, is when it came up, it was supposed to basically look like this. And you picked out a product, and it filled up the details view. That should work on yours. The problem is I tried to bring in some stuff from the next project, which was just dumb, but I did it anyway. All right. So we're just going to leave that project the way it is. All right. If you want to, you can go in there and you can look over here where we brought in that second form. So you've got 2 forms here, right there, right? You can remove that second form. You can leave form 1 in there, remove the other one, or just leave it the way it is. It doesn't really matter. We're not doing anything else with that one anyway. That was the product lookup. All right. And like I said, I apologize for trying to combine 2 of them. I don't know why I did. I'll just tell you that I did. How's that? All right. I just want to see what else is here. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay. So again, this is the one that I worked on with you yesterday. And what I'm telling you, come on, we didn't need this form. All right. So the best thing I can do is to come over here and find the form here that was called, there's form 1, and the other one was called product info, I believe. That's it here. Yep. I'm just going to right mouse click on it, and I'm going to choose delete. I do get a message back that says, are you sure? Yeah. Now it's gone. And the code's gone too. Okay? So in here, I don't want these two buttons anymore. I don't want those. Because remember what they're doing is they're linking to the other form that I've now gotten rid of. Correct? So what I really should do is rather than just, highlight them both and remove them, I should make sure that the code is gone as well. So I'm going to right mouse click, go to view code. It may end up giving me some errors here. Notice it does here. It's telling me, hey, you don't have that there anymore. All right. I'm just going to highlight all of this code, hit delete, so that code is gone. All right. Then I'm going to go back into here, into my design mode. See, now it's going to give me some some errors. I should have probably done it the other way. All right. So let's see. I'll do this. I'll go back again. I'm making this a lot harder than it has to be. But I'm going to go back into here again, go back into my form, Control Z my way back, and put that code back in here. All right, now the code's back in, so I can go back into design mode. Now, remove the two buttons. They're gone. Then go into code mode and remove all that code. I should not get an error message then. Again, should not. All right. So if I come back to here, there it is. Okay. I'll save everything. Click the start button. See if it comes up and it looks okay. All right. Can I still go? Notice I can go to my different things. All right. Sorry about that. I screwed up. All right. All right. So if you've got all that stuff done, I'm just going to do a save all, and we're going to start a new project right now. So I'm going to do a file, close solution. All right. Make sure you save first. All right. And just so you know, what you're going to eventually end up doing probably next week is just giving me, I'm going to pass around a flash drive or something and say, hey, take everything that you have that we did in class and put it on the flash drive. So you're going to take that 4/16/2018 folder, yours, and you're going to throw it out there. Does that make sense? That's what I'm going to grade. All right. And just so you know also, because you might think, okay, fine, I got a question. What's the question? Why the hell are we even doing this? Well, next semester for the ASP.NET class, all right, we're going to be using a database almost from day one. The way we do it will be a little bit different, but at least you have been exposed to being able to use databases inside of C#. All right, and that was my goal in this whole thing. All right, so we're going to come in here and we're going to file, new. We're going to create a new project. Done this before. It's going to be a Windows Forms application. The last one that we just saved, all right, that last one that we just saved was under Project 3. All right, so this one is going to be under, here's a surprise, Project 4. All right, so we're going to call this, and this is one word, multi-form products. Multi-form products, and make sure that you're saving it in the Project 4 folder. Everybody with me on this? All right. I will tell you that we're going to do number 4 right now. We're going to do about 2 or 3 more after that. And then I'm going to give you a worksheet, and I'm going to ask you, hey, try to do this. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to mimic what we're doing right now with a different database that you create. Does that make sense? And I'm going to give you time to work on it, but then I'm going to show you how I did it. All right? So if you're not happy or if you didn't get it or whatever, you'll still have the working version when we get done. And then we're going to do it one more time. That's what I'd like to get us through by the end of the week. All right? Next week, we'll see what next week brings us. All right. So we have, after this week, we have 2 more full weeks. That last week, as I promised you, that the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th, when you come in here on those 3 days, the expectation is you've got all your work done and turned in. So those 3 days you will just be working on your portfolio. Does that make sense? And when is the portfolio due? Last day at noon when you walk out. Any questions on any of that? All right. So we're coming in here. We've got multi-form products. We're saving in the Project 4 folder. All right. I don't need Git yet, so telling it to save it. All right. It's called multi-form because we are going to, this is the one where we wanted to bring in the second form. So we'll do that in just a minute. But before we do that, let's do it the other way this time. So let's go and let's click Project and go to Add New Data Source. You've done this before several times already. So again, it's Database, it's Data Set, it's New Connection because we don't have one. This brings up our Add Connection dialog box where we'll click Browse. And you have to find wherever you have that file, just as we did it yesterday. All right. That'll fill it up. Okay. Again, in the advanced, it's showing you basically everything that it's set up. So that's where the database file is located. That says that you're basically using your own local machine. All right. I do want you to understand, if you look right there, if you had your own server, so let's say we were hitting on like iwt.rankin.edu or something, that's what you'd put in there. All right. So I'm going to click OK. I'm going to test my connection to make sure it works. It does. That's good. All right. Click OK. Now I've got product db.mdf. As I showed you yesterday, these are the things that are set up for us automatically. All right, we are going to click Next again. It says again, we don't have a local file by that name. We need one. So we click Yes. You notice when we do, boom, there it is. Does everybody understand that that's what that's doing? Does that make sense? All right. And it asks for a connection string. I'm just going to leave the defaults. That's fine. We're going to come in here, and again, as we've been doing, we're going to click the arrow and then click on Product, which is going to choose everything for us. We'll keep the default data set name, and we'll click Finish. All right. Nothing new there. That's all stuff that we've done before. All right. All right. Let's widen this out just a little bit here. Make it a little bit bigger. You know what we're about to do because, again, we've done this before. That is, I'd like you to click View and go to Other Windows and Data Source, or Data Sources, just like we've done. All right, click on the product table. All right, we want to click the down arrow here, and we want to bring in a data grid view. Again, you've done this before. Then click on the table name, drag it in. There it is. Boom. I'm going to stretch this out a little bit. Remember, there are 12 products in here, so I probably want that to be a little bit bigger. Something like that. Okay. And I'm going to do a save all, and I'm going to run it just to make sure that it all works. Okay. There it is. You'll notice again, it automatically adds both vertical and horizontal scroll bars on an as-needed type of basis. All right, and that's fine. If I did want to, if I need more room here or whatever, I can move this down. I can move this down. I can, make that bigger, make this bigger, make this wider. Make this wider, etc. One thing you can't do, if you look right here, notice I can't click right here. See this? I can't make these things wider. I don't know if you noticed that or not. But when the program runs, then I can do that. So if I decide this isn't big enough, I can make it wider. See that? All right. Again, not that that's a real big thing one way or the other. These are just some things that as I think about them, I'm going to show you. All right. So let's see, I should pretty much have it so it's filling up. That's not bad. All right. I guess I need to make that a little wider. But again, I can stretch this out now. I've got room here. There. All right. And like I said, if I really want to, I can come back here, say, you know what, this has got to be even a little bit wider than it is. So I could stretch this down just a little bit, etc. You get the idea. All right. So that's the first thing that we want to do. All right. The other thing that we're going to want to do in here, and let's do this right now. Okay. We're going to want to put in those two buttons. We did this yesterday, but we're going to do it again right now. All right. So we're going to come in here and we're going to add a couple buttons in here. Okay. And the buttons, we're going to put them way down here. So I'm going to click down here. And again, notice I can do this. I can bring that up if I want, even make this just a little bit bigger. All right. I don't need my data sources right now, so I'm going to close this. In my toolbox, I'm just going to add a couple buttons. There's the first one. And it'll be called Show Details. And then I'll put in another one. And that one will just say Exit. Again, I'm not really that concerned with prettiness right here. All right, I'm not concerned that it looks real nice. I guess if I wanted to, I could go back and change some stuff to make them look nicer. I could play with my background color. I think we've done enough of that stuff. You may or may not agree with me, but I think we have. So I'm going to call this button Show Details. And I'm going to make sure that the text for that also says Show Details. Remember, the text can have a blank space. All right, so there's that. The other button is just going to have the text of Exit. And it's going to be called Button Exit. All right, what we did not do correctly yesterday that we're going to fix now is when you run this, you may or may not remember from yesterday, but when we ran this and you click the Show Details, so if this is the one that's highlighted, when we click Show Details, it did bring up the other form, right? But it didn't bring up the details for that record. It just brought up the same details for every record because we didn't have it synced up correctly. We're going to attempt to do that right now. All right. So we're pretty much done right now. We got to put some code in here, but we're pretty much done with this first form. So now we want to come in and we do want to create a second form. You know how to do this. We did it yesterday. All right. So again, please come in here and do the following. You got your choice. Again, you can right mouse click on your project name and choose Add, and then you can go to New Item, or you can go right to Windows Form. I'm going to go right to Windows Form. All right. Make sure it's Windows Form is what's created here. And what did they tell us to call this? We're going to call this Details Form. All right. Everybody got that? All right. So there's our second form. This one isn't going to have to really be all that big. Make it a little bit wider. Okay. And again, yesterday I was kind of hammering on you about change the form name, change your control names, etc. I don't care that much today. All right, I just want to get through this, all right, because there's a certain point I wanted to get to by the end of the week. All right, so just like we did before, we're going to come in here again, all right, and after we added this, okay, we could change the text property, etc. But again, I don't really care that much about that stuff. All right. So let's see. So we want to go to the data sources window. So again, we're going to do a view, other windows, data sources. Done this enough times, it shouldn't be a surprise to you. We're going to click on product, but this time we're going to choose details. All right, and when we get done with that, we're going to go and we're going to drag a details onto here. And again, if you don't like the way this looks, we can highlight all of it, we can move it around, etc. I think I've told you before that I like to stretch these out quite a bit because that description can be fairly long. I like it when stuff is pretty much uniform in size. You might say, you know what, that's fine, that's you, I don't really care. All right, I mean, again, if it was me, when you look up on the screen here, if I'm creating this for someone, not for me, but for someone, stuff that I'm going to do, I might justify all these, I might bold these, I might bold that stuff. I don't really care. I'm just telling you that's stuff that I might end up doing if I really felt like doing it. All right. All right. We also want to add in here a button so we can close our data sources, go back and let's add a button. Let's put it right about there. And this is just going to say on it, close. So I guess a good name for it might be button close. So that's what I'm going to call mine. All right. And the idea, if you'd look up on the screen, please, for a second, the idea is when we click this, all right, we want this form to close. All right. No big surprise right there or anything. All right. All right. So that's pretty much it. So the only thing to do is to add the code. All right. So let's go back to our first one right here. And let's add some code, then we'll run it, then we'll add some more code. Okay? So let's double click on our Show Details button right here. This should bring up this routine right here. Okay? Now, the idea, and please tell me if you don't understand this, maybe you're like, yeah, of course I do, it's simple. The idea is when we click this, we want that other form to show. Does that all make sense? All right. But literally what's going to happen is every time we click that button, you might say, well, yeah, just show the form. We're showing a new form every time because it's creating a brand new form that's got that particular product name in it or product number in it. Does that make sense? So the point is, when we do this, wow, we get to bring back something that we talked about a long time ago. That is a little bit of object orientation that we talked about towards the end of the C# part of the class. So I'm going to put a comment here that says, create an instance of the details form. All right. And I'll just call it details. We can call it whatever we want. All right, that creates it, but it doesn't show it. In other words, it creates it, but it's still invisible. Did you hear what I said? It's still invisible. All right. So the next thing to do would be to display the form. That's what we're going to do. And it's details dot show dialog. That literally means we want to show that form that we've just created. Okay? The next thing we want to do is we want to update the data set. And in English, what that means is we want the form to be filled with what we just asked for. Does that make sense? So if we pick product number 6, we want the details form to show us the details for product number 6. All right? This is a little bit more typing. I might have to make this a little smaller here. Let's see if I squeeze that down. Hopefully I can fit it all in here. All right, that's it. And give me just a second. I'll come right back to it. Promise. Let's bring up the exit button also. It's just one line. All right, so that's all the code. That's all the code that we have to add for our first form. All right, it's all the code we have to add for our first form. Everybody have that? Well, then when I go to the other form, this one, and I double click on the close button, I can basically just copy the same stuff that I just put in for my exit button. These two lines. Right there. All right. So let's do a save all. Let's go back to the original form, which is form 1. Run it. See if there's any magic. All right, that worked. Clicking exit, that works. Well, that's a good start. All right, now I want to choose a different one. So I'm going to choose 20-01, click show details, and it's still not showing me, so I'm still missing something. This is what happened yesterday. Now notice when we close this, it's not closing our program, right? It's closing our form. Just so you know, most of the time, when you work with this thing, with what we're creating right now, you'll hear it referred to as a master detail form. Everybody hear that? This is the master. All right, that's our data grid view. All right, and we have the detail form. Now, all I can think of is I'm missing a line of code someplace, so I'm going to quick look, because I've got the code here to see where I might be missing a line. All right. So we exit this, go back, come on, and view the code. The only thing like I said, the only thing that we should have had in the other form that I can think of, right there, if we view the code, is this .close. Everything else that's in there, this was all added for us. That's our constructor. Don't worry about what that means. This is validating it, etc., doing all the magical stuff that we want it to do. And that is everything for that. All right. So let's go back to the other one, our main form, and let's look at the code for that. See if I'm missing something. All right. So validate, etc., etc. Data set product, that is correct. Close. Well, something is still hosed, not sure what it is. We're going to leave that one because I want to go on. All right, I'll see if I can, let's see on mine, because this I had done these. Maybe my original was screwed up, so I'm going to go back and quickly show you my original. And the reason I'm showing you this is if for some reason this works, then I'll try to figure out why that one works and the other one doesn't. Maybe I just didn't do a good enough job of testing this. I don't know. And it doesn't. Wow. All right. I'm going to have to go back and look at mine, but for now, we're just going to stop. So, if you would please, all right, on the one we're working at, just do a save all and do a file, close solution. Like I said, that'll be up to me to try to fix that. All right. Now, I got a question for you. Am I right in assuming you all are comfortable using a select statement? Is that a fair assumption? All right, if we write fairly simple select statements, all right. Am I also correct in assuming that when we do this, you know select star gives you everything, and if I say select followed by one or more field names, it gives me just those field names? Okay, we've done that. Are you comfortable understanding those aggregate functions? Sum, min, max, and AVG. Everybody cool with those? All right. Everybody cool with using order by to put something in ascending or descending order? All right. And again, the reason I ask is we're going to use all of those right now. All right. Everybody's comfortable with using that like statement where we use the percent sign, which meant 0 or more characters. All right. We use the underscore, which meant exactly 1 character. Everybody's comfortable using the where clause. Everybody's comfortable with using an and or an or. Yes? All that stuff? Good. All right. What we're going to work on now, we're going to start slow and then build our way up. But we're going to start working on what are referred to as table adapter queries. All right? What does that mean? That means we're going to be playing with the table adapter. All right? And if you go, I don't know what that is, you will in just a minute. All right? If we have time, we're going to at least going to jump into the next one that we're going to do around 9 o'clock, then we'll take a break. But a table adapter query is going to be an SQL statement stored inside of a table adapter that you can execute automatically by calling a record. All right. Now, I want to show you this. If you look up on the screen here, you don't have to do this, but I want you to look at this if you would, please. The one that we just did here, I've already told you to close it. All right. But the one here that we just did, what I want you to look at is if you look up on the screen here, everybody, you see this file right here that says product DB data set.xsd. Everybody see that? That's called an XML screen designer file. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to double click on that. This is what we're going to be working with. All right? I don't expect you to understand any of that, but in a few minutes, I do. All right? What that says, if you look on the screen here, see how we got this thing here that says fill get data? Everybody see that in blue? See this? When we right mouse click on this, if I click configure, that's actually what's running. We didn't have to do anything special because when we pulled out that details, that data grid view, it wrote this for us. It said, give us the product number, the description, the units on hand, and the price from the product table. All right, that's what it told us to do. If we didn't want all of them to be shown, we could put a where statement in there. We could do anything we wanted to do. All right? Now again, there's a reason that I'm doing this methodically and showing it to you like this. Again, I'm going to come back and I'm going to run this program again. All right. Would you all agree, looking at this, would you agree that it's all based in order right now? It looks like based on product number, which is a primary key. True? All right. Let's say we didn't, well, that's nice. Let's say we didn't want that. Let's say we wanted it based on order of price. And right now I think you'd agree it's not based on order by price. But let's say we wanted the most expensive item first. With me? All right. So I can come back here then to where I just was, and I can right mouse click on this. I can go to configure where we've got it, and I can say here, order by price, descending order. So I made that change. All right. I'm going to click next. I'm going to click finish. And let's see if it does it now. See how my results are different? Now they're based in order, in descending order, based on the price. All right, so this is all stuff we've done before. And if you notice these all have the same price. So it said, oh, well, they're the same ones. So then basically, what order are you going to put them in? 28950. Wow. 30 to 10 to 20. It doesn't put them in any special order because we didn't tell it to. If we wanted this in order by description, we would change it instead of, order by price, descending, we just ordered by description. If we wanted it by units on hand, we could do it in ascending or descending order. We could order it by multiple things. Does all that make sense? Good, because that's what we're going to do right now. All right? Like I said, maybe a little long-winded, but I just wanted to make sure as we go through this that all of that makes sense to everybody. All right? So I'm done with this particular one. So I'm going to do a file, close solution, and I'm going to come in and start up another project. Now, again, if you look right here, the one we just did was in the Project 4 folder. So right now, I've got nothing in my Project 5 folder. Well, I do because I've created it. But I want to use my other folder here, so I want to use that folder. All right, and my Project 5 has nothing in it. So that's where I'm going to save this. All right, so I'm going to come in here right now, and I'm going to start up a new project. So File, New, Project. This one we're going to call Product Query. One word, big P, big Q, Product Query, and we're saving this one in the Project 5 folder. All right? This one probably won't take real long, so as soon as we get done with this one, we'll take a break. After the break, we're going to do a couple more of these, which should get us to somewhere around 10 o'clock. Then I'm going to give you a worksheet and ask you to try to do this on your own. All right? And I'm going to give you a couple hours today, and I'm going to give you even a couple hours tomorrow. If it's tomorrow and it's 9 o'clock and everybody says, we're done, okay, then we'll go over it tomorrow at 9 o'clock. But the plan is to give you plenty of time to work on this and go over it tomorrow at about 10:15, okay? Because that'll give us an hour and a half. And the project has got in it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. All right? Much of it you'll be able to do really, really quickly. All right? Because it's the same kind of stuff that we've been doing. All right? So, product query, boom. You know what this looks like by now. I don't remember how big this is, so I'm going to stretch that out just a bit. Again, it's not that big a thing. We can always do that later. All right? As we've done before, we're going to come in here as we've been doing. All right? And that is we're going to do our project, add new data source right here. It's going to be a database. It's going to be a data set. It's going to be a new connection. We're going to browse and find our product db.mdf file. We'll test the connection. It worked. Okay. There it is. Next. Yes, we want a local copy. We'll just use the default names for everything. We'll come back in here. And if you look at this, I want you to see this. What will happen if you work on this long enough, you'll get to right here, and you're like, boom, boom, boom. You're flipping along. So right here, if you don't choose anything, and it is possible, if I click finish right now, it tries to warn me. It says, you haven't chosen anything. You're going to have a data set, but it's not going to be pointing to anything. Does that make sense? 99.999 times out of 100, if you get this message, it says, are you sure you want to do this? Click no. Go back and choose your table or tables. All right? And then click finish. All right, the first thing we want to do, again, we've been doing this. We're going to go to View, Other Windows, Data Sources again. We're going to come in here, go to our product table, and we're going to choose Data Grid View, and we're going to drag one of those puppies right there. All right, and again, I'm going to space this out enough so that I'm cool with it. That's plenty wide. It's not going to be high enough. That's okay. I'll work with the scroll bar. It's not a problem. All right. All right. You know this as well as I do. If I do a save all and I run this now, there it is. It's got all my stuff in it. Okay. It's all there. I can make this wider because I gave myself some more room here. Boom. There's everything except it doesn't show the bottom. It's kind of cut off. All right, not a problem. All right, so that's what I wanted to do to start with. Okay? Now what we want to do, and this is the first time we've done this, if you look on the screen, I want you to find your XSD file right here, that file. Yours may or may not be open like mine is. Yours might look just like this, and that's fine. Just double-click on it. Try it again. Double-click on it. I want that to come up. Everybody there? All right. Now, we don't want to change that fill get data. We want to create our own. All right? So I want you to take your mouse, right mouse click on here where it says Product Table Adapter, choose Add Query. All right? So do that. If you do that, for some goofy reason, sometimes when you do that, instead of saying add and then query, it'll just say add query, and there'll just be one of these you have to choose. It's no big thing one way or the other. All right, so there. All right, now look at this. It's saying, okay, what do you want to use for this? Are you going to write your own SQL statement? Are you going to write your own statement? This is what we're going to choose for all these. All right. Then it says create a new stored procedure. What a stored procedure is you take one or more queries and you save them into a file. Okay? So if we wanted to create our own, we do this. If we had one we created already, we do this. So all a stored procedure is it's basically it's queries, etc., that you've saved. All right? But we're going to use, for everything we're doing here, we're going to be choosing use SQL statements. So click next. Then it says, what do you want? Do you want to return one row, multiple rows, etc.? So we're going to, for this one, we're going to choose right where it is. Select which returns rows. Please look on the screen. What we want to do is we're going to want to order this thing by price. Kind of what I just showed you. But what I showed you is I changed the original one. Now we're creating our own to do this. All right? But in a couple minutes, we're going to find out the average price. Then we're going to choose this one. Do you understand the difference? This is going to return multiple rows. That returns just one row. All right. If we wanted to be able to do updates, deletes, and inserts, we would choose one of these. All right. But for what we're doing right now, we want the select which returns rows. So next, it says, fine, what do you want to do here? All right. Now, just so you know, It depends. If you look up on the screen here, this all depends on how anal you are. First of all, I could totally rewrite this, put it all in uppercase, all in lowercase, or whatever. Notice what it's doing by default is it's taking keywords and it's putting them in uppercase. And it's taking everything else and it's putting it in what's called title case. So the first letter is highlighted. All right. The other thing too is if for some reason I wanted to do this, I don't know why I'd want to, but I could come in here and I could put this on its own line, and this on its own line, and this on its own line, and this, and this. I could do that. It doesn't buy me anything. In fact, the first thing it does when it runs this is it removes all those line breaks anyway. All right. But I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, you know what? I want to do an order by. And let's do this. We'll do an order by price, just like we did. And we'll put that in descending order. And if there's any prices that are the same, then we'll do it on description. And that'll be an ascending order. All right? So again, if yours is all on one line, that's just fine, 1 or 2 lines. I really broke it down so you can see what we're doing here. All right? So we've got all that stuff. If you look up on the screen here, we're not going to go through this, but if you look on the screen, notice there's a button here that says Query Builder. That lets you build it yourself if you want to. We typed it in, but if we wanted to be able to pick and choose, we could do that too. All right? I'm not doing that. I'm not going through that with you right now. So I'm going to cancel out of there, and I'm going to go to Next. And it says here, now notice what we have. It says fill a data table. This creates a method that takes a data table, boom, 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 all that good stuff. And long story short, yeah, we want to do that, but we don't want it to be called fill by because that's a stupid name. All right? Remember, we're calling it fill by price in descending order, correct? So I'm going to call this fill by price DESC. You can call it anything you want, okay? Except you can't use one that's already named. Then next it says return a data table. Creates a method that returns a new data table. We don't want that. All right, we just want to return the existing stuff. So that one, we're going to make sure it's not checked. And notice when it's not checked, this is still there, but it gets gray. See that? All right, so it's still there, but it will not be, we won't do anything with it. So once you've got fill a data table checked, the method name fill by price DESC, and the return a data table not checked, click Next again, and now it says this is what we just did for you. We generated the select statement, we generated the fill method. If you want to be able to apply those, click the Finish button. Probably pretty obvious to you what button we're going to click right now. Finish. And you see what's in blue right there? That's the new one we just created. All right, make sense? Questions? All right. Let's add one more query. We don't really have to, but let's just do it anyway. Like I said, we're going to run a little longer. Maybe we'll run till 9:15. In fact, we'll put this one in, then we'll take a break. All right, so let's right mouse click on here again, like we just did. Right mouse click on our table adapter. Now notice it says add query, as to before it said add and then query. So add query. We again want to use SQL statements. We again want something which returns rows. This time we want to change this though. Let's say we want to do this, but we only want to do it where, we'll put a where in here. So we're going to say where units on hand is greater than or equal to 100. So we added a where clause in here. All right, so unless all of these have a units on hand that's greater than or equal to 100, we've got criteria, so we're not going to show everything. Does that make sense? All right. Other than that, we're going to come back in here. We're going to go to Next. We want this to be checked still. And this one we'll put in here by units. We'll just say fill by units. If we wanted, we could say greater than 100. So if you want to, you can say greater than 100. All right? If you want to do that, it makes it a little bit more self-documenting. We, again, do not want this checked. All right? So we will, again, click Next. It shows us what it's built. We click Finish. And you'll notice now we have two things in there. If you take your mouse and you literally put it on there, it shows you the query. All right? Again, not that that's a big thing one way or the other, but I'm just showing you that, period. All right? So let's go back here to our design mode and let's add two buttons. All right? So let's close our data sources here and let's put two buttons in right down here. All right? Again, I don't really care where you put them, etc. This first one, we're going to call this one button sort by price. Sort by price DESC. All right. And we will put the text in there. Sort by price DESC. There it is. And this second one, we'll call this how about just products with UOH for units on hand greater than 100. See that? If you don't like my names, call them whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. If you don't like these being on two lines, make this wider. All right. And I'm going to change the name of this button right here from button 2 to button with units on hand greater than 100. That's a really long name, but it's pretty self-explanatory as far as what we want to do. All right? The good news is you're like, geez, you know, it's already after 9. We have 2 lines of code we have to add. That's it. 2 lines of code. So let's click on our first button here, our price in descending order, and let's put in the code. All right, and that code is this dot product table adapter dot, and we got to give it the name we just used. Notice, fill by price descending, fill by units greater than 100. This is our price one, so we're going to use that one. Fill by price descending. This dot product data set. Okay, it's got too big. Dot product. What does it like? Didn't I call that product data set? All right, let's check and see what I called mine. This dot. Oh, it's product DB data set. Sorry about that. Come on. Find product DB data set dot product. All right, there's the first one. Now, look on the screen, please. My suggestion to you, unless you like to type, grab this line of code, the whole thing, copy it to the clipboard. All right, go back to the design mode, click on your other button, paste this in, and change this one from this to fill by units greater than 100. That's it. Now, let me run it just to double check and make sure it works. So here is the original stuff. You notice the price is not in order. Here's our price descending. Notice it is in order now. And if we've got prices that are the same, then it does it in order based on the description. How about my units that are greater than 100. All right? What didn't I do here? What didn't I do here? I didn't sort them, did I? Probably should have. It would have looked a little nicer. You may or may not agree with that, but let's just go back and bring up that XSD file one more time. Right mouse click where it says fill by units greater than 100, choose configure, and all I'm going to do here is add order by units on hand in descending order. You don't have to do that, but I think at least it's going to look a little nicer if we do that. And then if there are any matches, then how about on description? Doesn't matter. So you can put whatever you want to put in there. All right? As the saying goes, you're only limited by your imagination type of an idea. So I'm going to click next. It's all fine. I'm going to click finish. All right? And I'm going to go back and run it again. There's my original info. There's my price and descending. There's my units on hand. And notice that every unit on hand is greater than or equal to 100. And these two are the same. So this is an order based on description. Did anybody have any problems with that yours didn't work? Questions? All right, it's a little late. Let's take 15, so we'll come back. Let's make it about 9:23, please. We're going to write a couple more of these. All right, and then I'm going to turn you loose. So I hope we can write a couple more of these projects between 9:23 and about 10 or so. All right. Make sure you save, and then you can just close your solution if you want, because we're going to start a new project in just a couple minutes. I don't know, it might almost seem what we're doing is really simplistic, but does it make sense? That's the key thing. Okay. I wish I had seen you sign this the other day. First you signed the wrong one. Should have signed it. And after you do, at the end of class today, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take, you can keep this now. And I take this by Mr. Corrigan, that is next door. He's got to sign here. Then you got to take it over to the other building. We have Mr. Sutton sign it. All right. So you have to do that, and Matthew's going to have to do the same thing. And don't lose it. Otherwise, we got to go through the whole process again. But bring it back with you tomorrow. All right. And my hope is that after today, we got what, 13, 16 days. Yeah. Don't be late. All right. And this is not a threat, but you see what happens when you work. All right.